peoples, Kyushu92 here, bringing you yet another video of One Piece reflections for the month of June. Because as you know, at the end of every single month, I do a reflection of the chapters that we get every single month. And actually, earlier today, around 8, maybe 9 a.m., I tried to do this video. And it was 40 minutes long of me talking when I could have just shortened it up without it added extra. Plus I was kind of tired, so this is a redo of what I did this morning, so that way it can be shorter, straight to the point, and we can move on. First off, we got 4 chapters this month: chapter 906, 7, 8, and 9, all of which were grand, with the last one bringing us into a new arc. First of all, let's go into 906, which is the Holy Land of Marijois. This is the chapter where we see a big portion of Marijois as a whole. All of the people from both the Alabasta, Dressrosa, Tontada, Goa, Ryugu, Black Drum, Sakura, Roshuan, Bollywood, Taijin, and Shisano Kingdom all make their way to the top of the Red Line in order to convene in what is known as the Pangaea Castle, where all of the royals and all the people who are a part of the reverie are going to congregate for this 7-day-long event, which is essentially, the reverie is going to be lasting 7 days. So they all gang up inside of the Pangaea Castle. We get a little glimpse of how life is in the Holy Land of Marijois. First of all, they have something that's called a travelator, which allows the world nobles themselves to move around throughout the entire area of Marijois without having to move. Fukaboshi, however, sensed that there was something sinister going on, and he could feel and sense the people with his observation haki. He can sense the people underground. Slaves are what they use to move the travelator. It's not automated, it's people-aided. They use their slaves to power this, and these slaves are beaten constantly in order to keep it at a pace that the world nobles are comfortable with. With even one individual is just, he couldn't take it anymore. Either free me or kill me. Just do something. And as this goes on, we start to see numerous people from different kingdoms meet up with each other, including Vivi meeting Rebecca for the first time. And this is the first joining of people who have met the Straw Hats in their past and are now able to meet each other. And then Shirahoshi joins in, and then we have Dalton, then we have Sai, then we have Leo. We have all these different people who have interacted with the Straw Hats in different past arcs. So we now have, the people are calling it Luffy's harem, are now meeting each other for the first time. So you got Vivi, Shirahoshi, and Rebecca all meeting each other, with Fukaboshi and Viola off to one side. Says, seems that they're making seems my sister is getting along with everyone over there. But at one point we have Charlos eyeing Shirahoshi as she's coming into the land of Marijois, and we already know what's going to happen. He sees something he wants, he's going to go after it. This is something that goes on in the next chapter. So here's the thing, we're not moving on just yet. What happens is we actually have Doflamingo near the end of chapter 906. We see him in Impel Down wondering if assassins are coming to kill him. And I believe, and we all tend to believe that it seems to be that Magellan is outside of his cell speaking to Doflamingo. And Doflamingo's wondering about the national treasure, and because he knows about what it is and what it can do, if assassins are going to come and kill him in order to keep that secret from getting out. But even at the end of that, there's something I didn't notice until now, is that Doflamingo says that, well, maybe I should just reveal it anyway, because even great power has a shelf life. Because, here's the thing, there's a pointy-crowned individual is seen making their way into long corridors and one big massive vault, which looks like it's a freezer vault, because what we see inside is a giant straw hat about the size of the figure standing in front of it. And it looks like it's being cryogenically frozen, like preserved. Like frozen and preserved, which goes back to what Doflamingo said, that some great powers have a shelf life, something along those lines. I'm just doing a little paraphrase of the translation that I got. It makes me think that whatever this Straw Hat is, because that looks like the national treasure of the world nobles themselves, the literal treasure that literally allowed Doflamingo to blackmail himself back into world noble status, celestial dragon status, because he knew its secret, and he lorded it over the world nobles themselves in order to gain back his lost status that he lost when his father, Don Quixote Homing, decided to leave the world nobles and live with regular people. But it makes me think that this hat, whatever it is, whatever power it has, it's slowly losing it because it's being kept frozen, and apparently it means that whatever power this straw hat has, it's decreasing by who knows how much. So I think the reason why it's in the freezer is for whatever power it has that the world nobles seem to be using it for. It's allowing it to slow the, I don't know, decaying process. I don't know what the significance of it being in the freezer is. I don't even know the significance of a straw hat being in some of the most powerful individuals' kingdom being their national treasure. Something so simple, something that they would scoff at if they saw it on top of a regular commoner, is their national treasure. But that's the end of the chapter, and it just had me confused when I read that whole entire chapter as a whole. But then we move on to 907, the Empty Throne. It is here that we learn of, well, the Empty Throne itself, which is a story that is told to Stelly, who is being indicted, who has to say an oath in order to fully understand the ramifications of the position that he holds as a noble being a part of the reverie. All these people need to take an oath in front of this empty throne because the throne was made by the first 20 kings of the world. This is the story they tell, that there would be no king above anyone else over the entire world, and that they would not it would not become a dictatorship over a throne, but it is the only way to maintain peace in the world. And as all of this is going on, before even that, we see that Big Mom and Kaido are talking to each other. We see that they have had history together because apparently Kaido owes a big debt to Big Mom. But Kaido says, I don't owe you anything. And Big Mom's all like, yes, you do. You owe me a lifelong debt. And it turns out during a story with that Garp was having with a lot of the rear admirals and marine officials in the same castle, the Pangaea Castle, where they're all bodyguarding everyone. Apparently, Big Mom and Kaido were once on a ship together, and it was around Roger's era, that they lost their captain, because Garp knows what went on with that, but we don't know the full extent of the relationship between Big Mom and Kaido when they were both crew members on the ship, nor do we get the name of the captain that they were with. But Big Mom and Kaido, were on a ship together, they worked together, and apparently Kaido owed her a big debt. Then we move on to the big throne, where Stelly is thinking about, well, if I sat on top of that throne, then I could be king of the world. You know Stelly, he's kind of stupid to have his position, but then we already know that somehow or another there was an accident between the previous Goa Kingdom's king and his son, which allowed Stelly to move into that position. Accident. So as all of this is going on, Charlos makes his move and tries to take Shirahoshi for himself so that Shirahoshi could be his pet. And he uses slave number 3. He doesn't get a name because why would world nobles see? Why would they give their slaves names? So he just has his giant slave number 3, try to take control of Shirahoshi, and then out of nowhere we get this big old Billy Club coming in and smacking Charlos into next week. And it was literally one of the greatest panels that I ever seen. Just seeing Charlos getting punched, I enjoy that. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. Sorry if that's mean, but I like seeing him get harmed because I don't like him. So, as all this is going on, we find out that the very person who injured Charlos is another world noble, none other than Miasgard. I got his name wrong multiple times. Every single time that I said his name, I felt like I was saying it wrong. Like his name, Miasgard, it doesn't even spell that way. It's Miasgard. So first and foremost, I do apologize for mispronouncing that. So Miasgard, who we also find out is part of the Don Quixote family, is the one who bodies Charlos. And Miasgard is also the same individual who crash landed into the Ryugu Kingdom after thinking that back when he was sadistic world noble, that he was going to go to the Ryugu Kingdom and get back take back all the fishman slaves that were freed by Fisher Tiger many, many years ago. And he sort of, didn't prepare. He kind of got tossed in there because, world nobles don't really plan that far ahead. They just say, I want to do something, but they don't really find out and smooth out the details beforehand. He met Queen Otohime, almost was killed by numerous fishmen because of his actions. But Otohime saved his life, and even though he scoffed at her, apparently during the trip that she took with him to the surface world, in order to get some influence of the world government to allow the Ryukyu Kingdom to be part of their list of kingdoms that could attend the reverie and make it easier for the lives of all merfolk, it turns out whatever Otohime taught him, it made him humble, ridiculously humble. Because the first thing we get from him, the first line of dialogue we get from him is, please forgive me that it's shameful, I'm paraphrasing, that a witless lout made his way here into this place, causing such a ruckus. First of all, world nobles don't apologize. So, whatever Otohime said to him stuck. And whatever she taught him turned him from the sadistic world noble that we all know is permeate throughout every single one of them. He has now become the little polar opposite of how a world noble normally behaves. He's asking people to forgive him because of another world noble. And King Neptune sort of recognizes him like, wow, you're this man from all those many years ago? And another piece of dialogue from Miasgard is, he literally thanks Otohime. Like, it's because of Otohime that he wound up being so humble as he is before. A literal change. Like, from his personality of thinking that everyone else is beneath him, to the point of saving someone that would normally be seen as trash from another world noble. So whatever Otohime taught to him, it stuck. But then again, another thing, well, we'll discuss the whole Don Quixote family as a whole in the next chapter. So Miasgard says that he's so appreciative of what Otohime did for him, and that I would like to help you with everything that I have. First of all, world nobles as a whole don't help nobody. So it just speaks volumes that maybe not every single world noble is evil. Because Miasgard is proving that if you would take the time to get off your high horse, then you could probably see the world below you, and the world below you is pretty much just the same as the world above you. So he says he's going to dedicate everything he has to helping everyone there, especially the members of the Ryukyu Kingdom. So as that goes on, I'm just awestruck at the fact that a world noble, people that we all hate, we hate every single world noble. I don't like a single one of them except for Miasgard and Don Quixote Homing, and we already know what happened to Homing because of Doflamingo. So as all of this is going on, we cut to the Gorosei, and they're speaking to someone inside of their chambers. And we're sort of wondering who it is. They even send out all of their bodyguards that is in the room at the time. So whoever they want to speak to, they want to make sure that anything that they say goes directly to them and it doesn't get into unheard ears or unwanted ears. And this person turns out to be Shanks. How did Shanks get there? I don't know. With so many powerful people, because let me talk about these powerful people. Back when Charlos was trying to take a hold of Shirahoshi, a lot of people were trying their best to defend Shirahoshi, even though doing so would bring the wrath of a celestial dragon down onto whatever kingdom spoke out against them. And no one wanted to do anything out of fear of having their entire country destroyed. And as it got to the whole discussion before Miasgard came in, as it came to a head, Rob Lucci and other members of CP0 come in to try and quell this, and Rob Lucci, being the subservient dog, Catman, the subservient dog, subservient cat to the world government, says that the will of a god doesn't need any reason. It's because he's a god that he can do anything that he wants, and he sort of kicks Sai and catches Leo, who's a fast individual in his own right, which sort of speaks on Lucci's speed as a whole. We see other members of CP0, so we also see Kaku. So it's confirmed that Kaku's now a member of CP0, along with Spandam and Lucci as well. And Stussy is there as well, and then we get some other hooded figures who we don't see the faces of. So it makes me wonder, what has happened to Khalifa, what's happened to Jabra, Bluno, Fukudo, and is it Kanbei? Not Kanbei. The dude that looks like the Yo-Yo dude. Yo-Yo! I can't remember his name. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember it. I'm going to remember it after I look him up. But CP0's there, and the thing is, there's so many powerful individuals there at the Reverie. It makes me wonder, how did Shanks get there at all? Back to Shanks. And he wants to speak about a certain pirate, so it makes me think he either wants to speak to the Gorosei about Luffy, or maybe about Blackbeard. I don't know, because in the next chapter, it does not continue off on that point. But the next chapter is 908, The Reverie Begins. And it is in this moment that we see all of the kingdoms band together in one room, where they finally get towards getting ready to discuss everything. But the main topic on everyone's minds at first happens to be Luffy and the events that happened with both Big Mom and how it's going to both Big Mom and Kaido, because due to all the events of both Dressrosa and the Whole Cake Island arc, Luffy is on Big Mom and Kaido's hit list. Kaido's hit list because he ruined his ability to gain any more artificial devil fruits for his artificial devil fruit army. And Big Mom because he ruined her chances of having the Germa 66 cloning material and cloning entire kingdom under her control. So basically, two things that these two Yonko wanted dearly have been ruined thanks to the acts of both Luffy and his crew. So as all these events are going on, Miyazgar vows to protect Shirahoshi during the entire Reverie. He's going to protect Shirahoshi for the next 7 days, which means Charlos is not going to get close. Charlos is not going to be having no pet giant mermaid up inside of his room just as a pet. Sorry, Charlos, you lost. Charlos lost. I'm going to be on that for a while. But as we see these things going on, Charlos is being escorted back to the main gate for the World Nobles, and we see a person called Connie, the Queen Dowager of the Sorbet Kingdom. And as we see this person being introduced, because she's trying to get into the place of the World Nobles, we see Rosward, which is the father of Count Charlos, Saint Charlos. And who we see him riding on is none other than Bartholomew Kuma, the Shichibukai, now subservient, mindless dog to the world government, who's being used by the world nobles there as their own personal slave. Given his cybernetic modifications and base durability as a human overall, it makes him the perfect punching bag, because we see him completely clothed in like slave clothes for a giant. But he has multiple cuts and bruises. He has multiple swords sticking out of his back. And Rosward is using like this hammer just to beat on him just because. Because Kuma's not going to say anything. Why? Because he's both loyal to the world government and all his emotions are gone, supposedly. I had a talk with my friends on wondering what if Vegapunk made a backup of Kuma's emotions and Kuma's memory and everything and is saving it. That's just a theory that we had. But Kuma is now being rented by the world nobles. And we also see his secondary title. We've known him as the former pirate known as the Tyrant. So before the pirate title, he was also known as the former king of the Sorbet Kingdom, which also brings up so many more questions. But as this is going on, Connie manages to slip past the guards and get inside of the main gate, and Connie shapeshifts into none other than one of the worst of the generation supernovas, Jewelry Bonnie. And upon seeing Kuma in his current state, she is both shocked and dismayed, and saying that the acts that the world nobles have done to him are unforgivable, which makes me wonder, what is Jewelry Bonnie's relationship to Kuma? Elsewhere, we see Sabo, Morley, Lindbergh, and Karasu underground, with Morley using his devil fruit abilities to make a small cave where they can converse. And of the three of the four, they're all trying to hold Sabo back so that he doesn't do anything reckless and keep him from getting worked up, because Sabo knows Kuma, like, since he was a kid. He grew up with Kuma. So to see him being used as a slave for the world nobles, it's dismaying for him, and saying that we have to save him. But Karasu says no, he's loyal to the world government now. The Kuma that we knew before is gone. We're not getting him back. So after all this is going on, it's just, oh boy, there's so much that we need to do. Sabo says that we can't go back now. We need to either do this. If we're going to rescue Kuma, we need to do this. We either do this or we die. So now they're all, I wonder if my screen is moving fast enough. It looks so. Okay, I'll deal with it. It's fine. It's fine. But as they're being prepared to, declare war on the world nobles and everything, Cobra beforehand saying that he was going to discuss something with both Riku and Admiral Fujitora, and he has also requested to speak with the Gorosei as well. So after all this is done, Hamburger is the head of the reverie, and they're all the Hamburger is of the Rashwan Kingdom, the Bollywood Kingdom, is now the chairman of this year's reverie. So he's the one starting it all and running it, apparently, for this time. But the important thing is we see the five elders walking down a hallway. Now this is the first time we see them ever going anywhere, and they're all dressed up highly to the nine. They got these big coats draped over, because no one ever wears coats with their arms in them in one piece. So we see them walking, and they enter, and then we see another panel of both this mysterious person who we now know because one of their own subordinates calls them Lord M, and the Gorosei are on their way to meet you, and this person is in like this massive flowery room. And we see a whole bunch of pictures on the ground, three of which we can identify as one being the shredded cut up picture of Luffy, another being the shredded cut up picture of Blackbeard, and another being the shredded cut up, and the other one being a stabbed in photo of Shirahoshi. And this also marks the first time we see Blackbeard's wanted poster, because we've never seen his wanted poster before. The world has only known Blackbeard due to his name alone, but this is something that sort of escaped me, but this is the first time we see Blackbeard's wanted poster, even though no bounty is shown. But Shirahoshi's picture is stabbed through, and he's making his way, and whoever this person is, he, she, I don't know, is making their way out of, well, it's a him, making his way out of the flower room with Vivi's hand in tow, completely intact. The significance of this is unknown. I don't know. And he makes his way into the room of the empty throne and proceeds to sit on it. The throne that no one is allowed to sit on because of the oath that was made with the first 20 elders of the world. This individual is sitting on it. And when the Gorosei get into that empty throne room, they kneel before him. Not him as in, I'm not saying kneel before him. No, they kneel before him. They kneel before him. They kneel before him. They kneel before the I can't decide if I want to say him or him. They kneel before him and say that, please tell us the name of the individual whose light should be extinguished from history. And we see this person's eyes, and it kind of looks like eyes from Mihawk. Makes me wonder, what are the significance of dual irised eyes? So, M is the true ruler of the world. Not the Gorosei, not the world nobles. M, the true secret ruler of the world. Because the story of the 21st, making the empty throne so that no one can sit on it, so that there can be no true ruler, It's all a lie. It's not meant, it's not for no one to sit on there. It's just a lie concocted to keep all allied kingdoms in line so that no one kingdom can feel like, well, if there's a true rule of the world, then maybe I shouldn't follow this, or yada, yada, yada. M is the true ruler of the world, and the only people that know that he rules is the 5 elders and apparently the close subordinates of M himself. So this is when we see that this is the ruler of the world. Anything he says goes, period. If the Gorosei have absolute power in the world's eyes, then M is well above that. Anything the Gorosei can do, M can do that times 10. And the fact that these 5 people, the 5 elders, the Gorosei, bow to this man and kneel and say, please tell us what you need to do. Tell us the name of the person you want gone, and they shall disappear. It speaks volumes because this person has yet to speak. We have yet to see this person's face, and yet he holds the absolute power over the entire world. But that's when that chapter ends. And we move on to the last chapter of this month, which also happens to be the start of the Wano Country arc, known as Seppuku. Now, as this is going on, it says that the reverie is happening in the background. We got Nekomamushi heading to some unknown island in search of Marco. We have his guardians. In the translation that I read, it says guardians. And I don't know if it's meant to be guardians or guardians. I don't know. But Nekomamushi has found Marco, and he's found on this unknown island hidden in this village that's hidden behind a waterfall. And as we see Marco, he's healing what looks like a sphinx. And it turns out that we learned that his flames of his phoenix, of his blue phoenix Zoan devil fruit, it allows him to not only heal himself, but also other individuals as well, and also heal up their healing rate. And he's now working in this village as that village doctor. And now beforehand, I know I said in my last reaction to 909, I thought that just made Marco the doctor of the Whitebeard ship, but no crew member has been given any specific title. We don't know who's the helmsman, we don't know who's the navigator on the Whitebeard ship. We just know that all the powerful individuals are commanders. And I sort of assumed that, well, if Marco can do that, then that means he was the doctor on Whitebeard ship. No, it's not true, because like I said, they're not given specific titles for what positions they hold other than them being commanders. So we see that Marco is working in the village as a doctor, using his flames of restoration to heal people. We see one guy whose back is acting up. We have an old lady whose legs are bothering her. And then we have this one random kid just saying that his older brother is bullying him. Don't see how a doctor is going to fix that, but I digress. And as Nekomamushi speaks to Marco, we find out that this village was not able to pay the celestial tribute. And in doing so, they were not able to join the world government and become an allied kingdom. So, in the process of this, that village turned into a lawless land, and many orphans came from that land. And it is at this point we realize that Whitebeard is from this village. Out of all the orphans of the orphans that came from this village during those crime-ridden times, Whitebeard was one of them. And at a very young age, Marco says, he left to become a pirate. And during his 72 years, and during his many, many years of being a pirate, Whitebeard was 72 years old. During his entire time as being a pirate, everything he did was to protect his village, because he would always send money, dirty money, in Marco's own words, to provide for this village, to make sure it was cared for and protected. So everything that Whitebeard did, he would always send back to his home village, which we still don't know the name of, in order to protect and provide for it so it can still keep going. Because when we look at this entire area, it's beautiful. It's like a countryside looking village that's completely, untouched by anything, not untouched by time, but it looks like it hasn't seen any source of famine, any source of depravity, or anything like that. So we also find out that when that when Shanks offered to take the bodies of both Whitebeard and Ace so that the Marines couldn't just parade them around as trophies for the world government after the War of the Best was over, we find out that this village also happens to be the final resting place of both Whitebeard and Ace. So it's now been confirmed that Whitebeard's hometown is where he's been buried at. And Marco is just thinking back on the events on how Whitebeard was so stingy. Whitebeard was stingy. He would never offer to buy his crew food. He would always drink other people's drinks. And we just thought he was stingy, but they also knew what he was doing with that money as well. And it just had Marco in tears, the fact that everything he did was to look after his own home that he never really returned to, I guess. So, and then when it's spoken to about Bakken and Edward Weevil, what that relationship is, Marco's kind of left, he kind of leaves it kind of open-ended. He says, well, there's not much we can say on Whitebeard and his women, but I personally highly doubt that Edward Weevil is the son of Whitebeard, because Bakken is purely just coming after the Whitebeard pirates for their treasure, which, lo and behold, just turns out to be all the stuff that happens to be keeping Whitebeard's hometown intact. So I don't know how they're gonna like that. But it's because of this, because of the threat of Edward Weevil, Marco is not going to leave the island that he's on, because if he leaves, that he could probably backtrace him to that island and then probably raise it in an attempt to get whatever treasure Whitebeard had. So Marco is not going to go with Nekomamushi to meet up with Luffy, but he chooses to give him a message instead. So after that's done, we see the Wano country for the first time, and it's a beautiful panel. I wasn't extremely overjoyed with my reaction because, one, I was extremely tired from my previous shift. I literally got home for about a good 30 minutes, and then I did my reaction to the chapter, so I didn't have any time to literally lay down. I was really dog tired, so I apologize if it's not just as big as it tends to be. But we see Wano country for the first time, and it's absolutely beautiful. The fact that this place has been untouched by the outside world, like no mechanical contraptions, nothing like that. It's just beautiful feudal era Japan, and it's absolutely amazing. And this is where we see the rest of the Straw Hats that have been missing. We see Frankie, who's posing as a carpenter, because Kinemon speaks with all of them, saying that we can't do anything that would raise suspicion or cause our position to be compromised, because the place is being ruled by a shogun by the name of Kurozumi Orochi, who's the current shogun right now, which we also know as the shogun, that the person that helped Kaido kill Momonosuke's father and thus usurp that position from him. So, in order to blend in with Wano society and make it easier to infiltrate the country, the crew has taken up different names and different positions, with Frankie taking up his role as a carpenter with the name Franosuke. And he's doing such a good job that the guy he's working with says, "I'm trying to give you a compliment, this is absolutely amazing." Then we have Usopp posing as a Toad Oil salesman by the name Usohachi. And he's, selling his wares like classic con artist style type salesman pitches and everything. Then we have Robin, who's posing as a geisha, saying the woman who's teaching her is telling him, "No, you're doing this wrong. The shogun's never going to invite you overnight if you keep doing this wrong." And she's all tired and out of breath, but she looks very beautiful. And she's posing with the name as Orobi. And then we finally have Zoro, who's apparently been framed for the murder of numerous people that happened in the Wano country, and also being blamed for the disappearance of the body of Ryuma and the taking of the sword Shosui, which this magistrate is happily trying to impose this blame on Zoro because he wants the sword Shosui for himself. Now, as we know what happened to Ryuma. His body was taken by either Moria or Hogback and then reanimated as a zombie. So we know what happened to his body. We just don't know the process of how it got from Wano all the way into Thriller Bark. So as Zoro is being put on trial and expected to commit seppuku for his crimes, Zoro is like, he can sense the murderous intent on the dude and also smell the blood on him. And using the knife that they wanted him to commit seppuku with, from a sitting position, launches an airborne slash that not only cuts along the ground, but cuts up into the building, slashes the dude, possibly killing him, and also literally slashes through the roof of the building he's in from a sitting position, therefore ruining his surprise, ruining his disguise, and sort of, you know, causing a bit of an incident while trying to remain undercover. So this is also the start of the Wano arc. We're here in Wano. There's no denying it now. We can't say it's been put on break. We can't say it's been put on hold. With this last recent chapter, the Wano arc, Wano Country arc, has started. And I thought all of these chapters were phenomenal. Now, I wasn't as excited with my last one because, as I said, I was really, really tired and I just wasn't as energetic as I was before. But all 4 of these chapters were great. Really, really great. We got to see some very good character development, especially when it came to the world nobles who don't apologize for anything. We see one of their own actually showing a human side, a humilified side, showing some humility and grace and looking after someone other than himself. We see what happened to Kuma, and it makes me wonder what Jewelry Bonnie's relationship with Kuma is. We finally see Marco, but he's not going to Wano to meet up with Luffy because of the threat that Edward Weevil would pose to the village that he would come from. So Marco's not going to go to Wano, but he's leaving a message for Nekomamushi to give to Luffy instead. What that message is, don't know. We find out the name of the shogun who's currently running Wano Country, and I'm pretty sure he's well affiliated with Kaido because Kinemon says that whatever we do in this country, Kaido will get wind of it. So that's the reason why the rest of the Straw Hat crew have their disguises. So overall, I thought the month of June was a very, very important, pivotal shift for One Piece. Like, we get to see the reverie and how it goes, but the amount of not only backstory telling, because we get some tidbits here and there, but the chapters as a whole, they really push One Piece forward. I see some excellent storytelling from Oda, some good character development, some good character introductions, and I love the way that these chapters have been going on. And for June as a whole, I say that this was a phenomenal month for One Piece as a whole. We're going to be entering into July tomorrow, because it's the 30th today, 1:07 p.m. I got so much of the day left. And we're going to be entering into July, so I cannot wait to see what July brings for us. Let me know what you thought of June as a whole for One Piece. Let me know what you would like to hope to see in One Piece as a whole. Like, what are we going to be seeing? Are we going to be seeing... my thing is, I cannot wait to see the dynamic of the samurai ruling country of Wano. Because even Sakazuki, during the time when Big Mom and Kaido were talking to each other, it was an open-ended channel, and Kizaru was like, do you want me to go deal with this situation? And he says, no, we don't need to do that, because we don't know what the strength of the samurai army of Wano is. So the world government does not know what's going on in Wano for who knows how many years. The Marines themselves don't know the strength of the people in Wano. So it makes me wonder just how strong are the people in Wano. And it makes me, it brings so many questions to mind. Will this be the arc where we see Zoro pull out all the stops? Will we finally be able to see what's inside that eye of his at all? I don't know. But I look forward to this upcoming arc as Wano starts. So hope you all enjoyed. Let me know what you thought of all of the chapters for the month of June as a whole. What did you like? What did you hate? What are you tired of seeing? What would you like to see? I'm looking forward to numerous things myself, but I digress. I've gone on far too long. Hope you all enjoyed. I can't wait to see you all in the next video, so have a fantastic day. And once again, as always, later, people!